August 4th, 1993, Arlington Stadium, Texas. The air was the kind of heavy that only Texas summers produce. Thick, suffocating. The kind of heat that sits on your shoulders and doesn't move. 93 degrees at first pitch. The stands were full. 40,000 people who had come to watch Nolan Ryan pitch. Not because the Rangers were in a pennant race. Not because this was a rivalry game. Because Nolan Ryan was 46 years old and everyone understood that time was running out. Every start could be the last. Every pitch could be the final one. The farewell tour that nobody had officially announced but everyone understood was happening. You came to see Nolan Ryan in 1993, the way you go to see something irreplaceable before it disappears. Because once it was gone, it was gone. And on this night in August, 40,000 people settled into their seats and prepared to watch history. They had no idea what kind of history they were about to see. To understand what happened on that mound, you need to understand who Nolan Ryan was. Not the statistics, though the statistics are almost incomprehensible. 5,714 strikeouts, 7 no-hitters, 27 years in professional baseball. Numbers that don't belong to a human career. They belong to a mythology. But the statistics are not the point. The point is what Ryan represented. He was the last of something. The last of the pitchers who treated the mound like sovereign territory. Who believed that the 60 feet and 6 inches between the rubber and home plate was his space and his rules applied there. Who threw inside, not as a strategy, but as a statement. A statement that said, "This is my house, and you are a visitor, and visitors show respect." That philosophy had been dying for years in baseball, replaced by a more polite, more corporate, more careful version of the sport. Ryan never got the memo. Or he got it and threw it away. In 1993, he was still pitching the way he had always pitched. Hard, inside, without apology. At 46 years old in his final season. Still making that statement every time he took the mound. Ventura was 26 years old, third baseman for the Chicago White Sox. One of the best young players in the American League. A Gold Glove defender with a powerful left-handed swing and the kind of confidence that comes from knowing you are very good at something and knowing that everyone else knows it too. He was not a troublemaker, not a brawler, not the kind of player who looked for confrontations. He was a baseball player who came to play baseball and expected the normal rules of professional engagement to apply. That was the miscalculation. Normal rules did not apply when Nolan Ryan was on the mound. They never had. And on August 4th, 1993, Ventura was about to learn that lesson in the most public and painful way possible. Third inning. Ventura stepped into the batter's box. Ryan wound up. The pitch came in. Inside. High. Hit Ventura on the arm. The baseball made that specific sound, the flat thud of cowhide on flesh, and Ventura felt the sting radiate up his arm. He stood there for a moment. He looked at Ryan. Ryan looked back. No apology, no gesture, no acknowledgement that anything unusual had occurred. Just Nolan Ryan on the mound, looking like a man who had done exactly what he intended to do and had no commentary to offer about it. Ventura took his base. He walked to first. The crowd murmured. Players in both dugouts exchanged glances. This was a Ryan brushback. This was part of pitching inside the way Ryan pitched inside. Nothing to escalate. Nothing to respond to beyond what the game itself provided. Walk to first. Play continues. That was the professional response. Ventura knew it. And for about 30 seconds, it looked like that was the response he was going to give. Then something happened. Inside Ventura, something shifted. The calculation changed. The professional response lost the argument going on inside him. He was 26 years old, and he was fast, and he was strong, and he was angry. And across that diamond was a 46-year-old man who had just thrown a baseball into his arm on purpose, and was standing on that mound, looking like he had no concerns whatsoever about any response that might come. And Ventura made a decision. He made it quickly. He made it completely. He dropped his helmet. He started walking toward the mound. Then walking became jogging. Jogging became running. 90 feet between first base and the mound. Ventura covering it fast. Head down. Determined. The stadium went from murmur to roar in about 2 seconds. Both dugouts emptied immediately. Players running. Coaches running. The organized chaos of a baseball brawl beginning to assemble itself. And at the center of all of it, Robin Ventura, arriving at the mound with his arms coming up, ready to deliver the punch that would establish something important about who he was and what he would accept. He never got the punch off. What happened next happened so fast that the camera operators almost missed it. Nolan Ryan, 46 years old, last season, bad knee, retirement approaching, did not step back, did not raise his hands in defense, did not run, did not call for help. Nolan Ryan took one step forward, wrapped his left arm around Robin Ventura's neck, pulled him in, and put him in a headlock. A complete, controlled, absolute headlock. Ventura's head was locked under Ryan's arm, like something that had been placed there deliberately and was not going anywhere. And then Ryan started throwing punches. Not wild swings, not desperate flailing. Short, controlled, deliberate punches to the top of Ventura's head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 punches. In a headlock. On live television. In front of 40,000 people in Arlington and millions more watching at home. Before anyone could get there to stop it. Before the players sprinting from both dugouts could cover the distance. Before anything could intervene. 6 punches. Then teammates arrived and the bodies piled on, and the brawl became the general chaos that baseball brawls become. Everybody grabbing everybody. Nobody quite sure what they're doing. The specific violence of the original confrontation dissolving into the absurd theater of a baseball fight. But the original confrontation was over. It had lasted approximately 4 seconds. And the result was not what Robin Ventura had calculated when he started running. If you've ever watched someone make the worst decision of their life in slow motion and been completely unable to stop it, subscribe right now. Hit like if you knew exactly how this was going to end the moment Ventura started running. And drop a comment below. What would you have done in Ventura's position? Because what happened next is the part that nobody talks about. The aftermath was strange in a specifically baseball way. Both players were ejected. Both players were fined. Both players were suspended. Ryan for 4 games. Ventura for 2. The baseball bureaucracy processed the incident with the efficient dispassion of an institution that has seen everything and categorizes everything and moves on quickly. But the cultural aftermath was completely different. The footage spread immediately. This was 1993, before the internet made viral, a word people used every day, but something can go viral before the word exists for it. Sports highlight shows ran the clip on repeat. Newspapers ran photographs. Radio programs played audio of the crowd reaction. Bars across Texas ran the footage on loop. And the verdict of every replay, in every bar, in every living room, in every press box, was the same. Nolan Ryan just put Robin Ventura in a headlock and punched him 6 times. At 46 years old, in his final season, on live television, Robin Ventura handled it with grace. Which is to say, he said as little as possible and acknowledged the obvious when he had to. He said he should not have rushed the mound. He said he underestimated Ryan. He said he made a mistake. These were honest statements, delivered without excessive self-flagellation, by a man who had done something impulsive and paid a price that was both fair and humiliating, and from which no amount of explanation would fully rescue him. He was Robin Ventura, good baseball player, Gold Glove third baseman, future manager. And he was also the man who ran at Nolan Ryan and ended up in a headlock. Both of those things were true simultaneously and would remain true forever. He accepted it. There was nothing else to do. Ryan said almost nothing publicly. This was consistent with who he had always been. Ryan was not a man who narrated his own choices. He pitched inside because he believed in pitching inside. He held his ground because he had always held his ground. The headlock and the 6 punches were not something he had planned. They were the automatic response of a man who had spent 27 years competing at the highest level of professional baseball, and whose instincts, when challenged, did not include retreat. He didn't explain that. He didn't need to explain it. The footage explained it more completely than any statement could. What made the Ryan Ventura incident legendary, beyond the obvious drama of its execution, was the specific quality of the mismatch. Not just age, though the age was part of it. 46 versus 26 was a number that should have predicted an outcome, and predicted it wrong. But beyond age, the mismatch was about something less quantifiable. About the difference between a man who has decided what he is, and nothing can change it, and a man who made a decision in 3 seconds that he had not fully thought through. Ryan had been deciding what he was for 27 years. He was the man who pitched inside, who held the mound, who did not flinch. He had made that decision so many times that making it was no longer a decision. It was just who he was. Ventura had made his decision in the heat of an at-bat, in the surge of an emotion, in the 90 feet between first base and the mound. The difference between those two kinds of decisions was the headlock, was the 6 punches, was the footage that would be played forever. Nolan Ryan retired after the 1993 season. His knee finally gave out in September, and he left the game without the formal farewell that his career deserved. No ceremony, no final start on his terms, just injury and absence, and then it was over. But nobody who watched him pitch in 1993 remembered only the injury. They remembered August 4th. They remembered the mound at Arlington Stadium, and Robin Ventura running across the infield, and Nolan Ryan doing what Nolan Ryan did. They remembered the headlock. They remembered the 6 punches. They remembered 40,000 people and the roar that came out of them when the 46-year-old pitcher proved one final time, in the most undeniable way available to him, that nobody ran at Nolan Ryan. Not in 1968 when he was 21 and throwing the ball through walls. Not in 1981 when he was throwing his 5th no-hitter. Not in 1993 when he was 46 years old and his knee hurt and retirement was 3 months away. Nobody ran at Nolan Ryan. Robin Ventura ran at Nolan Ryan. And 40,000 people watched what happened. And the footage has been playing ever since. Because some lessons are worth watching on repeat. Because some moments capture something about a person so completely that no biography could improve on them. Because Nolan Ryan was, until the last day he stood on a major league mound, exactly who he had always been. And on August 4th, 1993, in the heat of a Texas summer, Robin Ventura found that out in a way that neither of them would ever forget.